Tier 1 Performance. I am Jordan Powell, and I'm here with Mitchell Matulia, co-founder of Tier 1 Performance with me. Mitch, so no surprise, you are an ex-baseball player, but why don't you go ahead and tell us how you got into bodybuilding?
Yeah, so basically when I was a teenager, when I first got into weightlifting at age 16, 17, I grew a love for bodybuilding, but I knew that baseball was going to ultimately get me a college scholarship. So I kind of put that on hold and I just pursued baseball. And then after baseball ended, I thought it was the perfect opportunity to start my bodybuilding career and venture.
That's nice. That's nice. So you have performed in one show as of right now, right?
That's correct.
Go ahead. So you got third.
Correct. Yeah. So I placed third in the novice division for classic physique in the Battle of Texas. And it was a great experience. It was a great opportunity to get my feet wet. And now we know what we need to work on to achieve first this year.
How'd you do compared to all those other guys? Like, were you big? Were you bigger than some? Were you bigger than most? Like, the
I
dude that won it all, was he like ferocious? Like, was he cut up?
so I thought the biggest difference was the conditioning part of it. So I think that my size overall was good, especially for my first show. I felt pretty prepared for it being my first show.
I was gonna say you were pretty much natural for the whole thing, right?
Yes, yeah,
Compared
and
to everyone else.
correct. That was the biggest difference I saw was the chemicals used in the guys who beat me. And then aside from that was the body fat I was holding in my lower back, glute and hamstring region. I felt like once I lose that and get a little bit leaner, it'll be game over for these guys.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, watching you there, I was like, dude, some of those dudes are, you could clearly tell we're on like copious amounts of stuff, copious amounts of drugs, and I mean, they looked, so shredded to a point that it was unnatural. Whereas you kind of looked more natural, more Greek physique, not like someone just took an absolute syringe to the neck. I mean,
Yes,
that's how decked out these dudes are.
I'm big on the aesthetic look. I think when you start looking like cattle, it's not aesthetic. So you want to still kind of maintain that natural look, but obviously, I think looking like a statue, that's kind of like the overall goal here for classic physique, especially.
Well, I know some of our fans are pretty much wondering what is. Go ahead and talk us through like the whole entire competition, starting from when you show up into the city and when you get on stage to as soon as you're done, what do you do after that? Like, take us through the whole process.
So prior to even showing up, and you got to have an itinerary set up. You got to be well prepared, especially as a bodybuilder. And I think a veteran move that we made this year was getting the Airbnb as opposed to staying at the hotel with all the other bodybuilders,
Oh yeah,
because you have access to a full kitchen, microwave, and at these hotels, basically the all the bodybuilders have to share a room with like 6 microwaves. So you got hundreds of bodybuilders, male and female, and it's like you're waiting in line for 30 minutes sometimes just to heat up your food. And it's like at
wow.
Airbnb, yeah, you're sacrificing staying a little bit further away, like maybe 15 minutes away, but you've got a full house with your team. So it's like my girl was there, and we had a few immediate friends that were like all supporting.
Yeah, but you can have your whole posse
You
there.
got
I
to
mean, that's
have
the
your whole
beauty.
your you got to have your coach and your whole team with you.
Yeah, it
That's
was
the whole
really
thing.
nice.
And
Yeah.
so you got to have a plan set up. Like we packed a huge Yeti cooler full of our meals and
Well,
water.
your meals.
My meals, yeah, I packed for a family
I
of
was about to
10.
say.
When we filled up the whole fridge, Jordan's like, okay,
I literally thought it was
okay.
pre-stocked.
Yeah. So that's the biggest thing is being prepared with the Airbnb, with the food, and you got to expect the unexpected. So I brought a lot of stuff. I cooked everything in advance. So all I had to do was weigh out my food on my food scale and prepare it in the microwave. So that was huge. And then you got to book your spray tanning appointment in advance prior to athletes weigh-in and check-ins, which is going to be held on Friday night. So
The day before.
the day before the
Right.
show. The show starts on Saturday, and all the amateur shows are one-day events. So the
Okay.
prejudging's in the morning, the finals are in the evening. So you want to get that tanning session booked in ahead of time.
Yeah.
And so you get to the Airbnb on like that Friday afternoon, right?
To get your first coat though, you got your first coat that one night because then we had to wake up the next morning at like 5 o'clock. So you could get your second layer.
Yeah. So the
Right.
athletes check-ins were from 6 to like 8 p.m. on that
On
Friday.
Friday, yeah.
You get to the Airbnb, you want to get to the Airbnb like early, like around noon, right? And then just get all your stuff situated, get your camp organized, and then get your spray tan appointment, your first coat. You want to do it either before or after the weigh-ins and check-ins.
Yeah.
I knew, like, since we had to like fast that whole day, I wanted to eat. I had to eat like 3 meals after the weigh-ins and check-ins, right?
Oh, that's right. No, because
We
we
had to
were
make
there
weight.
for like 3 hours. We got out of there like 10.
Yeah, we got there 10.
Like 10
It was
o'clock.
running. Everything was running late because they didn't
so many
expect
people.
over 1,000 competitors.
Yeah, there was so many people. So third out of like, I don't know how many people were in your division was like. It was incredible.
Right.
I mean, we always go for gold here at TOP. But,
Yeah.
I mean, we medaled, which not even mad about. But yeah, no. After that, we drove home. You had your meals,
Mhm.
right? We had to get in and out for the girls. Or no, they already ate. You had a cheat meal.
The girls were on their own. Like, that was like, hey, you guys are here for moral support, but ultimately, like, we have a mission.
Yeah.
And I can't be thinking about what you're doing. Like,
we can't feed the fans.
we're being selfish. We got to be selfish here.
I mean, we were here for you, for Team Us.
Yeah.
And they even drove separate.
They drove separate.
Shout out to them. Though.
Shout out to
They were
Jess
huge. They
and
helped
Nicole. Yeah, they were
helped out a lot.
huge.
But no. So after that, and then you got your spray. You did your check-ins, and you got your spray tan in the morning.
Well, the first coat of spray tan was on that Friday, Friday 4 p.m., right?
Correct.
And then the athletes weigh in and check-ins, and then we had to eat like 3 meals. Went to bed late.
Yeah.
And then the next morning, we woke up like on 3 hours of sleep.
It was brutal.
Jordan drove me to get my second and third and fourth coat of spray tan because I told these women, like, lay it on me because I'm so pasty and pale. I hadn't seen the sun in months, and
God, he was so white.
so we're like, hey, I came out looking blacker than this dude. So
He was very much something between African and Hawaiian as well. The dark you
That's right.
Like somewhere a nice line between, red line between. But no, I was barely awake when we had to drive you. I was like, man, I woke up earlier than I do for work.
Fortunately, we planned that out right because we got there so early that we were just in and out in like maybe 20 minutes.
Yeah, it was like 25 minutes. Came back, relaxed, and then you had the first round.
Right, prejudging round.
Yeah, so then, I mean, prejudging? No, it was mostly like all the judging, from what I recall. They did most of their judging because after the prejudging, you had if you made it, you got called back, right? And you did your routine, which I thought would have way more weight and meaning to it than we did. Because I thought you had the best routine out there. I'm biased for sure, 100% biased. 100% biased.
We're extremely corrupt.
If I wasn't corrupt or biased, he still would have the best one. But again, I plead my case. But I was told by some fan whose loved one was also competing. She says that now the judging is done after the first round, and then the performance is a formality.
Right.
And as long as you don't mess up, you don't get points deducted for you, but you can't gain points because right after that, they were announcing the winners and the losers.
Yes.
I thought that was absolutely wild.
It's unfortunate. So at the amateur shows, they don't have enough time, right? And so, like, your posing routine, no matter how great it is, it doesn't really hold much weight in the like when it comes down to like the winners, like first, second, third, right?
Right, because you're just trying not to mess up. It takes a lot for you to get knocked.
Now that's different from in the pro ranks. They care about the routine. The routine does play, especially in classic physique, a role in the judging.
Let's go ahead and let's go through. For the people that don't know, the real people who don't know, let's go ahead and describe, the different classes, the ranks, the leagues.
Yeah.
Go ahead and.
So
even I still get confused.
Yeah, no, I mean, so I compete in the NPC, which is basically a sister company of the IFBB. IFBB is International Federal Bodybuilding, International Federation of Bodybuilding. So that's like the professional realm. NPC is right under it. That's the amateur ranks. It's the most competitive. It's the most competitive organization for bodybuilding in the world. So in NPC, it's the National Physique Committee. There are many different divisions, but for males, there are men's physiques. So the guys with the board shorts, so they don't really judge the legs. It's like it's from the waist up, torso, right? So they're looking at basically who has the most perfect abs and like wide back. That's basically the judging for that. And then you got classic physique, but within classic physique, there are weight classes based on your height. So I'm 5'8", and so I compete at 190. But at the professional ranks, you get to gain 10 more pounds. So I'd compete at like 200. And then there's A, B, C, and D divisions within classic physique, all based on different heights and weights. Then in the amateur divisions, there's like light heavyweight, and then there's heavyweight bodybuilding. But then when you get to the pro ranks, there's like a 212 class and a men's open, which you can be whatever weight you want to be.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, so there you got it.
And then there's a ton of female divisions. There's like bikini, figure, wellness,
we can't
physique.
There were so many females at that.
There's
place.
a ton of bikini
That's why it
competitors.
took so long. So for
ton of figure competitors.
Those of y'all who didn't know, Mitch performed the first round, the preliminaries, at what time? What was it, like 10 o'clock?
10 a.m.
Like 10 a.m., which they were already behind.
They were already behind, but fortunately, Classic goes kind of earlier in the day, behind men and women's open bodybuilding. And then there's then there's Classic, and then there's men's physique, and then there's like a bunch of other women divisions.
Right. And so then I remember you actually went on around like 11. You're supposed to be there for 10. You actually ended up going up 11, and then they told you to be back here for 5 because you made it to the next round.
Correct.
And then at the end of that, we got there back at 5, and then you didn't go on until like 9 because that's how far back. That's how many women competitors there were.
Right. So the show got delayed 6 hours, which you got to be expecting the unexpected, right? So we brought a cooler on wheels. I mean, of course, none of you guys were expecting it, but in the back of my mind, I was like, this thing could run a little bit overtime. So we brought like a ton of rice cakes and almond butter. We were living off of that. I was living off of that for
Mitch. I mean, we
5, 6 hours.
weren't going to touch the competitors' food, obviously. I mean, but I'm not gonna lie. I left. I went to a bar. So
and at this point, I guess to kind of resort back to the prejudging rounds, they're judging. There's a symmetry round, and then there's mandatory poses. So in Classic Physique,
go through we won't make you pose right now.
Right. I mean,
but at least describe.
I can take this off. I mean, I haven't let myself get too puffy.
Some kids might watch this. You don't want to send them in cardiac arrest.
Okay, so. The symmetry round is basically you go up there on stage and you perform what's called relaxed poses, but it's anything but relaxed. You're actually tensing up every single muscle in your body.
Even when you're not posing.
So it's like you're basically up there like when you're in your front lat spread position, and then you get your two side. They just want to see that your body's like symmetrical and fully developed, right? And then so you pose from the front, side, and back view. You go off stage. They keep you on stage, and then they have you come up 5 at a time and perform the 5 mandatory Classic Physique poses, which are front double biceps, abs and thigh, side chest, side tri, and back double biceps. And they compare you to the others on stage within your division, and they'll place you, they'll move you around on the stage, right? So if you're on the ends, and they say, hey, move to the center, that's a good sign. That means the judges are these are going to be my top guys in that division, right? In that class. And then, so if you're in the middle of the stage, if you're front and center after prejudging, that's a good sign. That means hey, you most likely have a chance at going to finals and doing well and placing well. So, but they don't let you know when you go backstage after prejudging if you make it to finals because they don't have that kind of relay.
I thought that was kind of scummy. I'm not gonna lie.
So
it wasn't. I say scummy, but I mean it wasn't as organized or professional as I thought it should.
Right. So everyone basically comes back 6 hours later
just to find out if they did or did not make
it, in hopes that they've made it to the finals,
which is wild. I mean, and some of those younger guys. Those inexperienced guys, those guys that didn't train and they didn't even look like they trained as hard.
Right.
They shot. Honestly, I mean, it was great that they came back, but I mean, if it was me, I probably would have been very upset to find out 6 hours after the fact that I stayed here longer than I needed to.
Right.
You can't eat. You can't start your off season yet. You gotta still maintain that weight and that figure throughout the whole day, which is very stressful from the way it looked to you and the other competitors.
Because there was a dude. There was a dude in front of me who was backstage, and he basically just tries to go up on stage with us in line, and the guy's like, "Hey, hold on, wait a minute, what's your name?" And he tells him, and he goes, "Yeah, you're not in my top 5, man. You're gonna have to."
Oh, it's cold.
Yeah, no.
I mean, months of training, right?
Months of training, but it was.
It's just like any other sport, though.
Yeah, for sure. It's competitive. And especially at that level, Battle of Texas, that's the largest amateur show in the nation.
Did not know that.
Largest amateur show in the nation. So what everyone was telling me when I came back home was dude, if you place well on this show, you can hang with anybody in the amateur ranks. So
we got to keep that energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure, you gotta keep it. I'll
Yeah.
be never. Oh, disappointing. No, that's yeah, no, that was quite the trip, right? Dallas, and then and then we had to get pizza after, but like our pizza took forever.
Well, the only places open. So after the show ended, after
I mean, it was
after
in
I did the
this.
posing routine.
You remember the complex? It was like a nice little like so they have the hotel that we were at, which is right off the corner of I guess the feeder of the highway, right?
Yeah.
And then as soon as you walk to the right of that convention center, it is apartments across the street, and then there's a gigantic hotel, which is where most of the competitors stayed at.
Mhm.
And then after that, beyond that, it's like a movie theater, a row of bars, some tight restaurants. Um, an outdoor pavilion. Very, very nice. It was very pretty, very scenic, very nice place in Dallas. I honestly forget what it's called.
La Centera
La Centera.
in Irving, Texas, just right outside of downtown Dallas.
Yeah, like
north of Dallas.
15 minutes from the airport.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean
I believe
it was a cool spot. There's a lot of Korean restaurants, which I'm all about.
we were staying in Koreatown. I know you're about all the I know you're
Yeah,
we all know.
we all know. So
Mitch's little secret love. But yeah, no, it was a great spot. And then where did we go? We went to a brew house, right?
we went to Yard House.
Yard Dog?
Yardbird.
Yard House?
Yard House.
Yard House?
Which is not a pizza joint, but it was the only place open at like 11 p.m.
11 p.m.
So we had bar food.
None of us had eaten.
And dude,
Stuff.
I had never waited for pizza that long in my life, and like
it wasn't necessary.
Dude, I had stayed so cool, calm, well collected, like throughout the whole entire prep.
I was gonna say you were losing it at the end.
I was starting to lose it.
You was losing it
because my body was about to cramp. I was just like so exhausted from that whole experience, and then
it was very scary.
On top of that,
scary. You look scared when he's
mad. I hold it in, and then when it releases,
internally combusts.
Yeah,
everyone's a victim.
It's like exactly. It's like that Samoan rage.
Yeah. Where's my fucking
like my Samoan friends are like the friendliest dudes in the world, but when they get mad, they get mad.
Yeah, they get mad. I was like, lady, we need a pizza now.
Right. And then when the pizza comes out, and it's like the shittiest pizza like we've ever had. I'm like, I don't care. Like I'll eat 2 of them at this point.
You did eat 2 of them.
I ate 2.
It's funny because he did it. No, he actually did it.
But we weren't content with like.
No, we weren't. But there nothing else was open around.
And then we ate we split a couple things of ice cream. A couple
Actually,
pints of ice cream.
I think you did the ice cream. I don't think I did.
I did the pint of ice cream.
I was actually full for my pizza, but I didn't work up an appetite like him.
Mm-hmm.
But no, yeah, we had to stop at the gas station. We talked to like those 6 homeless dudes.
I just remember like when we went to bed, we got back to the Airbnb. We kind of were just chilling in the living room, and then we went to bed at like 2 a.m. We had been up for a full 24 hours.
Oh yeah,
body deprived,
dude. And I got up at like 7 o'clock the next morning and drove back to Houston because I had to give lessons to my wonderful, wonderful clients and students down at Deep at Humble. But dude, it was tough. We had to power through that drive for sure.
I just remember laying in bed. I didn't bother. I mean, I was still spray tanned up. I did shower that night because Jessica made me. She's like, "You need to shower. Your feet are disgusting." I was walking around backstage all day with no shoes on, and
it was overly tan. It wasn't looking good.
No,
you were too dark.
And so I took a shower, and when I laid in bed, my body had not been that tired since I couldn't remember when. I don't think my body had ever been that fatigued.
Dog days.
No, never. Like even throughout baseball career, everything like football. Really? I mean, my body was just like, oh yeah, no, nothing to quite match this fatigue. And so I laid down. And I was just like, all right, night night. Just passed right out.
I felt like I pulled an all-nighter like I did in college, and then I had to wake up for like 7 a.m. practice.
Just got hit by a bus.
Like just absolutely destroyed internally and mentally, and then somehow you put it together, right? And then you drive.
And then the show must go on though. Like we wake up the next day, you go hit up your clients.
Right. I got to go to work. Are you talking about on that Monday? Are you talking about the Sunday? Yeah, no, Sunday. Yeah, I wake up.
You drove all the way back.
I drove straight back. Picked up my dog, Nike, pretty boy, if you will. Picked him up, took him back, took care of him, and then went straight to Humble. Had 5 hours of lessons, and I didn't break character once. I did sweat out the alcohol and the pizza, though.
Some demons.
Yeah, a lot of demons were coming out of me, but my biggest demon was lack of sleep. And no, yeah, that was a brutal Sunday. And then
You were a trooper, dude.
No, I got you for sure. If I decide to go pro into anything else, though, you will.
Oh yeah,
for sure be my number one.
Yeah. I'll be his driver and
Yeah.
his manager for that.
Yeah, you'll call me sir and all that.
Yes.
The whole 9 yards.
Open up the door.
Everything.
Give him the umbrella.
Everything. I hope I go pro pickleball.
Yeah.
This baseball's lost.
Well, so and then of course, like I probably could have slept for about 24 hours. I honestly probably could have slept for 18 at least. But then we had to wake up the next day, be out of the Airbnb by 11, and we were on the road back to Houston.
Yeah, no, and the girls drove separate. Or did you ride back with? You rode back with the girls, huh?
No, I drove.
Oh,
separate.
you drive too? Yeah,
we drove separate.
It was like 3 cars.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, yeah. No, that was. I felt like so long ago, but it was actually. It was November.
A little over about 2 months to the day. Actually, today's February 10th.
It was in December 8th. It was like December 10th.
December 10th. So 2 months to the day.
Yeah, no. And so, what do you? You're in full off season right now, right? Correct.
Full off season. I mean, okay. So I wouldn't say I've started my off season protocol per se. However, I am eating very clean, doing cardio 3 days a week, weight training 6 days a week, and our calories are up, our carbs are up. We're basically eating the same exact foods that we ate prior to prep, but we're just adding more carbohydrates for energy and for recovery.
So you, after evaluating how you did in Dallas, we all came to the realization that you got a pretty good shot at competing at your next one and doing well, or potentially winning it, and then after that, having a chance to go pro, which is super exciting, by the way. What are you gonna change that you did in the past to what you're gonna do for this upcoming show to succeed? Like, what's gonna be the difference maker for you to win instead of getting top 3?
Well, for starters, just going through my first ever off season as a bodybuilder. I mean, that's going to be huge because like prior to that show, I had suffered that perineal tear in my ankle, and like I had just gone into this show with the genetics I already possessed. We just
beautiful genetics,
literally ridded the body fat and just went. I said, I want to do this show. That was my goal at the end of 2022. We did it, but I kind of knew that the best was yet to come, obviously, because like A, it's your first show. B, I had no prior off season, so like I knew that like I was going to have some weak parts, I guess.
Well, yeah, we were finding out your flaws.
But but when you get down to that body fat for the first time, you don't really know what your weak areas are.
Because you stare at yourself all the time. You're conceited.
Right. So, and then of course because your fat will cover up certain areas that you don't realize are underdeveloped, right? Like my rear delts, for example, for this first show, I feel like they could have been a lot better. So that's one area I'm prioritizing this off season. And then also back thickness, my lower lats need to improve as well. And I would say that I need to better my conditioning on a yearly basis. And that was one thing that like, dude, I never really did cardio prior to this prep. Like at 15 weeks out, that's when I kind of started doing cardio. And that was a huge mistake. That was like a huge thing that I'm going to improve this off season. It's like, hey, stay in shape year round. Don't be too heavy. Don't be too much higher than your stage weight. And then you don't have to kill yourself for prep. Like you're already there. You're putting on that lean muscle tissue. But let's be real. It's unrealistic to put on like 15 pounds of muscle in a year. But putting on like 5 to 7 pounds of muscle in a year is obtainable. But you don't need to get that heavy to do that. You don't need to be more than 25 pounds above stage weight. You really don't. So the goal of this offseason is to refine the physique, build quality size, but stay well conditioned. That's the biggest factor. In a full 6-month offseason is going to give me that time that I need.
Right. It's also pretty important that you stay flexible, stay loose, avoid any injuries, right? Injury prevention is pretty big, considering that's kind of what delayed our start.
Right.
With this going forward was you had that huge ankle injury.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, for those of y'all that didn't know, Mitch and I, before we started this company, before we got back together, we hadn't seen each other in like 10 years, right?
Yeah, it was probably 6 or 7.
It was like 6, 7. I know there's a brief interlude after my freshman year of college when we met in like a baseball league for summer ball.
Yeah.
And
better part of 10 years.
Yeah, but but for the most part, like 10 years, like it was like a hi, bye, what's up, what's going on, how you doing? First off, you look like a different animal back then. You were catching, right? You had the grizzly beard.
Had a 38-inch waistline.
Yeah. big boy.
I look like a
Big boy.
fridge, dude.
You were a unit. You were a scary left-handed unit. But anyway, yeah. So before, I forget where I was going with that.
I guess like whenever we reconciled, like whenever we got back
Oh, yeah.
together.
So when we got back together and I saw you working out, you were in a boot,
Yeah.
like on the bike.
I was on a knee scooter.
Yeah, he was on a knee scooter on the bike working out. He's like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm getting ready. I'm thinking I'm going into bodybuilding. And I was like, in a boot.
You're like,
like,
sure, buddy.
I was like, I'm not gonna stop. I'm like, I'm not gonna stop this man. He's on
Yeah.
a mission here. So, you know, it was pretty funny. And then, I watched you. I remember I had to be like, you gotta like just piss off and just give yourself a break. I remember you were,
Right.
I mean, old school daddy mentality,
Mhm.
right? That's our fathers coming out of us
Right.
right there, just to trying to work through everything. But like, no, you had to like physically sit yourself down. You had to go to, not physical. You had to go to physical therapy. You had to go to the doctor. You had to get like a bunch of scans because you kept reworking that injury. But once you got that discipline, be like, hey, I gotta stop before I can get better. You know, you heal.
Well, it was misdiagnosed for about 4 months. The first 4 months of this, I went to go see a podiatrist, and I had an odd feeling about this cat. I was just like, hey, listen, man, I don't think that this is purely plantar fasciitis. I think this is something different because I feel it. I told him in all the different parts of my ankle and like foot that I felt this pain. And I did a little bit of research on myself. I kind of like went to was it WebMD? No, I was kidding.
Oh, of course. The
No,
Holy Grail of
that always holds.
diagnosis.
So
Where's
I
your
did.
girlfriend
I mean, I
usually?
know my body better than any doctor. I think we all need to, as individuals, we need to know our bodies much better than anybody else, right? So
I wouldn't say
right,
more than a doctor.
But yeah, you need to know your individual body.
Well, individual body, yes, but like
Yeah.
not being able to
But maybe not being able
diagnose
to like,
yourself.
But I tell you this though, I mean, funny you say that.
We're not doctors.
No, we're not doctors.
Full disclosure.
Full disclosure. But I did go to this podiatrist after like my second visit. I said, listen, man, these exercises that you're giving me, I'm doing them like 5 times. I'm doing like 7 times a day. All right. Nothing's working. And I did my research on my own. I literally think this is a peroneal tendon issue. I said, listen, man, can I please like get an MRI? And like, he goes, that is impossible. It can't be that. He literally said, that is impossible. It cannot be that. I got an MRI, went back for a follow-up. It's a peroneal tendon tear.
One of the rare moments, ladies and gentlemen, that he was smarter than a doctor. Or he was more correct than the doctor, I should say.
Right.
But his body.
I regress though, and so it was a long process getting that foot healed, right? And like you and I, we have visions, like we know what we're going to accomplish, but sometimes I feel like I can't say the same for you, but I make the mistake of vocalizing what I'm going to do, I guess, to people, so much so that like people think that we're crazy, right?
I mean,
but like we just let them know like what we're gonna do, and they look at us like, okay, yeah, right. But then we do it.
Then we do it. Yeah, no. Who would have thought we'd be here? No, not me.
But that's the thing is like we have these visions in mind. Like I knew that I wanted to compete. We knew that we wanted to start this business together, 2-1 Performance, and give people, I guess, the knowledge that they're missing. And I think that a lot of influencers in today's field when it comes to athletics and bodybuilding are out there giving misinformation, or maybe they're just kind of not just laying it all out there and telling you exactly how it is. We're not
explaining it correctly, you know. I mean, or enough.
We want to fully disclose everything to athletes and help you because we don't want you to get hurt, and we want you to accomplish these things a lot faster than we did.
Correct. Yeah. No. So yeah, I think going back, I mean, all the way to our childhood. I mean, and we'll have another episode as we're running a little short on time here, but I mean, we'll talk about how we came together and we did this, the whole origin, the backstory. I just know that a lot of y'all had questions about bodybuilding for Mitch, and I think we covered some of them, not all of them. We'll have another meeting for that or another episode for that, guys. But yeah, no, I think it goes down to we had that hard mindset, tough it out mentality, right? Work harder, not necessarily smarter. Hard work hard work pays off, right? So but it's not just that anymore. Besides the game of baseball and the art of bodybuilding, it'll only improve, it'll only get better. I mean, I remember in high school doing a slow roller barehanded at third base was a pretty elite move. Now you got middle schoolers doing it.
You have like 9 and 10-year-olds.
Yeah, yeah.
Because like the way that we teach, like we talk to young kids. I think this is important for any individual. We talk to them like adults, right?
Yeah.
Like we don't baby them. We're not going to be so like we're not going to like scream at them. We're not going to yell. Their parents are already doing that, right? But we aren't going to say, "Hey, this kid is 9 or 10. He can't field a backhand. Why would we practice that?" No, you need to develop those skills at a young age, those motor skills at a young age, so that by the time they're in high school, it's muscle memory. It's just like automatic.
And I think where I was going with my my point is that we try to focus and we try to teach how to do it right, how to do it properly. Basically be the people that I wish I had in my life when I was in high school. Because if I could have had someone teach me all the things that I learned in college by when I was in high school, I could have went so much farther. I could have developed my game way better. I'd probably have a different future in a different I'd probably be in a different area right now. Not that I'm disliking how my turnout of events went. Like it went great for me in most ways, but
You're doing great.
Appreciate it. But it's that's we're trying to be that big brother, that mentor, that these kids that are already elite in high school or that are wanting to get to the next level can get there faster, smarter, and a better method, better process than what we went through. I mean, I think I became an elite hitter, with like 3 lessons training with you, and then just beating the heck out of my swing, just overtraining until I got it perfected in my own way, and
Right.
I developed a pretty much a tier 1 mindset, if you will. Mindset builds mastery. I kind of threw that into my swing, and then I analyzed myself, and I was like, I know what I'm doing right, and this is my best. This is how I hit the ball. This is how I should hit the ball. This is what works for me, and I pretty much built on top of that. Now, the downside to the way me training so hard and alone by myself for so long is that a lot of the times coaches or other players couldn't tell me anything, because to me they didn't go through the struggle that I went through, and and especially if my stats were better than yours, I definitely wasn't listening to you. And I think that was not an area. I probably wish I could change that about myself back in the past. Is be more open minded and seek more knowledge and guidance from guys who are more elite and better than me. But I kind of took a hard road of like being elite, and that's just the way I was raised, and that's the way I came up. But definitely, I wish what we're doing here at Tier 1 Performance. I definitely wish I had someone like this around. And guys, if you stay and you follow, I mean, it'll just you can easily achieve your dreams once you put your mind to it. The simple thing is you just have to do it.
Mm-hmm. Got to do the
Just
work.
doing it, yeah.
And I mean, you probably hear this all the time from your parents and stuff, but it's like you are who you surround yourself with. And what we want to be is like not just coaches, like we want to be mentors. We want to help these athletes achieve their goals. And like, I don't want you hanging around these like kids who don't have any kind of hopes and dreams of playing college ball. It's like, hey, you got to surround yourself with individuals. You got to go train with guys who are going to push each other. Like you and I, we competed with each other. We gave each other advice. We would go from going to school to baseball practice to weightlifting sessions together at the YMCA to hitting in the cages at 9 p.m.
Yeah, then to get conditioning afterwards. Yeah, no, it was. I mean, we lived, breathed baseball.
Right.
School, like, didn't have much of a social life, as I would say most high schoolers do. But like that came with a sacrifice.
Yeah.
Plus, it would have helped you if we went out partying anyway. It would have helped, but
yeah.
I mean, you just have to. You have to put in the work. You have to put in the work. You have to find out the best method to get you there properly, and who better to guide you than people who went through it themselves, aren't so outdated and outside the game that we don't know what we're talking about. We're like some old head back from the 80s telling you how we play baseball now.
We can relate to you
We can relate to the old people and the new people. Like, let's just put that out there. But I know we are running out of time. Guys, thank you for listening and tuning in. Like always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Tier 1 Performance. And if you are interested in programs or, just hearing more guidance from us, please check out our website and contact us at tier1performance.org. And Mitch, thank you. It's always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure, sir.
See y'all next time, all right?